Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Ashley, great smile. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning. And
Good morning, everyone.
good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, family.
I'm gonna get you going. Phone set. There's your class.
All right.
I'm gonna mute myself here.
Awesome. We have a little more than 100 people on. Let's see if we can do better than last week. We had 134 people on last week. That was awesome.
Oh, Sophie.
No.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for using the chat bars and the good mornings out there. It's great to see.
Good morning.
And hopefully you can see I did it right. Can you all see the while you wait this morning?
No,
Yes.
it's your recently played.
Uh-oh. I did that again.
Oh, I thought that was good.
We're learning things about you.
All right. How about there?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Okay.
Oh, boy.
All right. Good, good.
Are
We
you
are at
taking a
100.
poll?
Are you
Good
team
morning,
A or
Kamala.
team B?
Hey, comadre.
Good morning.
Good morning. We have to do a private Zoom, comadre.
Yeah. Oh, we do. A Zoom happy hour.
You got it.
Is that
Oh, yes.
Everyone's welcomed.
Everybody is.
Oh, yes,
And-
Gloria.
Yeah, I'm gonna hook it up.
What, Stephanie? You would knock everybody off, knock them down and pick it up a few and run? I guess you like some of those videos out there.
.com today and receive free shipping. P3 gear is also
All right.
available to supply
You need to
today's
keep in mind that if you have volume going on in the background,
Give us a call at
you might want to mute
661-7.
yourself. There we go. All right. So how about this? We're going to go ahead and just get started this morning. Appreciate everyone jumping on. So I will mute you at this time.
Lucius. It starts with an E.
Let me see where's where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it goes. All right. All right. So thank you everybody for joining this morning. We are going to jump into our last day of the district call as we start to wind down this school year. So with that being said, I will jump out of here quickly and turn it over to our superintendent, Mr. Jonathan Vasquez.
Good morning, everyone. I promise to not be so much of a Debbie Downer as I was last week. It was purposeful and intentful to give you an idea of the budget ramifications of that the district is facing, and I wanted to be as honest as possible. But I think I can do the same presentation with my tone a little bit higher, as I got a lot of anxiety across the district. So I'll do my best to try and give you fair information in a positive tone. Okay, so let's go over a few things first. Those of you who are old enough to remember Schoolhouse Rock, I was trying to explain how the budget is going to work. Again, I'm just a bill, I'm only a bill. So I'm just a budget, I'm only a budget. This is kind of how it works. We knew that when the governor put out his budget, may revise from his first budget that he put out in January, the state of California was $54 billion in the hole. When he cut out some programs and cut out some things that he wanted to do and recognized the fact that he wasn't going to be in an $8 billion surplus like he thought he was in January, but now he was in a $54 billion surplus. He was able to submit a balanced budget, but it required a lot of cuts. So again, the May revise, consider that as, the first step on Capitol Hill in Sacramento. And then our cuts, or what that meant to us as a school district, was about 10% cut of our LCFF funding. Right now, those original budget recommendations are not necessarily the budget, but basically now they're in committee and people are trying to figure out what parts of the budget the governor likes, what doesn't he like, what don't they like, and moving some things around. In a couple of months ago, the federal government passed the CARES Act and sent money down to the states. Okay, so money that was allocated to districts like ours that have low SES, a low SES community, had a larger pool of funds. So as of last week, there was money in there for a district like ours to help support and offset some of that 10% cut. But on Monday in committee, it got wrangled out. It may, instead of just being allocated to districts more like ours, may be spread out to every district in the state of California. So the money is still there, just not as much. And again, that's kind of where we're at. The state has to approve the budget sometime next month. Once the budget, I think it's by the 15th is what it's in the Constitution, because if they don't do that, then the legislature doesn't get paid. So there's high incentive for them to pass a balanced budget where the governor can then sign. And then once it's signed, Doug will have a better idea of what the ramifications are. Again, it's not going to be the 10%, still is going to be there. We've already calculated what that looks like, but whether or not offsets from that additional money that was supposed to go to districts like ours, how much money is that? We don't know until the budget is signed. So the game plan for the district is by law, we have to pass a balanced budget, or we have to pass a budget and submit it to the county for approval by July 1. So at our board meeting on the 24th is when we will have as much information as we can to say, here is what our budget will look like for next year. So again, the money that is possibly allocated to us will be determined during the committee and wrangling of next month. We'll find out what that number is and see how it whittles down some of that 10% off of the LCFF funding that we were going to get for next year out of our general fund balance, and kind of where we stand. This still does not represent any additional funding in the federal level. You may have heard that there is something called the HEROES bill that was passed by Congress, but as Mitch McConnell said in the Senate, it's dead on arrival. So even though they had trillions of dollars, of which a lot was going to schools, which would help offset some of our balance issues, the Senate still has to wrangle with it. So I don't anticipate anything coming from the federal government, even though the Senate has now kind of softened and said, okay, I know we need to pass another stimulus, but we just don't know when. So that may not happen till August. So again, that's just a little bit of information with regards to how the budget calculations that we're working on is going to affect us for next year. And again, when we do the budget, it doesn't represent anything with regards to what are the additional things we need to do in order to get our schools ready for COVID-19 readiness, because everything has been, we have our employees home, we have our students home, and we run things virtually. So if we start bringing our kids back, which we're planning to do in the fall, there are all sorts of different recommendations that also have affiliated costs to that, which are not represented. So we have to calculate that based on the recommendations of the Department of Public Health and LACO, and that will be additional costs, to the district. So as Doug would say, more to come, but that is the Civics 101 lesson from School of Rock on how the budget will be determined between now and mid-June, and the district will determine their budget. I'll be contacting and letting you know probably during the summer. I don't know if I'll continue to do Zoom conferences like this, but since people are pretty much familiar, I may use the principals to push information out to say, hey, I'd like to talk to everybody, and just do something like this. This is a good way to communicate with you. It's an hour out of your life during the summer, but it will keep all of you very much in the loop of what's going on, okay? I wanted to put this slide back up here, and I took it out because, again, this is our priorities have still, stayed the same. For next year, they're going to stay the same. There's just different, types of variation to this. Whether we bring students back, whether we bring the staff back, we still need to maintain the staff and the students are safe, that we keep things clean and disinfected, which we have already a process to do. We are continuing to feed all of our kids. We're trying to continue that after our summer school program in June, possibly to go into July. So it's conceivable that from the start of August of last year through July and starting up again in August, we would have close to a year-round food distribution program for our kids, which is a pretty good thing to try and accomplish and hope for. We may have an uptick in more people coming and people from other school districts coming to get free food, because some of the local school districts are not looking to continue their meal program past summer school, and will go dark in July. But Doug and Kathy are looking to find ways that we can continue feeding our kids, because we know they're vulnerable during the summer as more and more of their parents get laid off. We had our distance learning model come into clarity as we moved on through the year. So again, there's not going to be anything by and large that will feel different as we come back into next year. What we're going to be trying to do is add some more clarity based on LACO's recommendations. Yesterday, LACO dropped a 45-page recommendation task force that they put together from the county district office personnel, as well as some of local superintendents, about what are the things necessary to have our students come back to school. Some of the things I think we can do, some of the things are really going to be challenging, such as things we can easily do is have all of our kids and all of our staff wear masks if they're on campus. That's going to be the free space and bingo. You have to do that. Things that'll be more challenging is having to do 16 feet, or maybe a class size of 16:1, and have a 6 feet of distance. So literally, people are getting out their tape measures, and if they were to take everything out, how many square feet do they have? And if they had the ability to put desks 6 feet across, what would that look like? So that is something that we are looking at. But I anticipate within the next month and a half, based on the recommendations, this is how you would open up the school, and here are the recommendations from the Department of Public Health. We'd be able to let parents and let staff know what the next school year is going to look like. I still anticipate probably being virtual for the remainder of August, just to buy ourselves some more time as we prepare and get our schools ready to bring kids back and to refit our classrooms if necessary. But starting today and going through the next week, survey is going out to parents to see what kind of programs would they support and want for their kids. Local school district in the area did a survey of their kids, and 75% of them wanted distance learning, did not want their kids to come back. So that was good indication for that school district to not stress as much about trying to bring kids back when a good chunk of their population wanted their kids to continue the virtual learning, even though there's headaches and inherent challenges with that model. At least the kids are healthy, and during this time, parents are stressing that more. Other parents are saying, I need to get back to work. If the stay-at-home orders are getting loosened, I need childcare. I need to put my kids back in school. So right now, we're going to be surveying. So through the principals, I'll be asking for your help, just to be pushing out on Class Dojo. Surveys coming out to you, please fill it out. We need your input. We want to make sure that your kids are safe. We want to make sure that your kids are learning next year. Please take the time to fill it out. So with your help, hopefully we can get a higher percentage of our last survey, which is about 1,100 parents, which is phenomenal for our district. So the fact that we got 1,100 out of about 1,500 students, their parents to respond is great. And that's the kind of percentage we need in order to make the recommendations and implement some of the programs for next year that we need to. Okay. So trying to communicate with you and the parents. I'll be doing that over the summer in multiple ways, just so that you understand what we're doing and are prepared for next year. But again, if you're a teacher, I would plan on saying, okay, whatever my class looks like, probably if school starts on August 13th, which we're still scheduled to start on August 13th, that first week or two would be a virtual rollout. And again, there's different types of things, going back to my how does a bill become a budget scenario, where the legislature has not given us any kind of relaxed rules for attendance yet, but that's a possibility that they will be coming in to say, listen, whatever your ADA was last year, that's what you're going to be funded at. Don't worry about the kids coming in now. You're going to be funded, which would be helpful to us, because every year we've been declining for almost 15 years. So to say that at least we're starting with the 1510 that we had last year, as opposed to lower than that, would at least give us a good baseline and, you know, help us financially, but also help us just, you know, provide the kind of program that the parents want. So we'll be prepared. I am very optimistic that what we're going to put together is going to be similar to what we're doing. It'll just be a little bit more meat and potatoes, such as here's the amount of time that we would want teachers to be with students. Here's the amount of time that we are offering students to come into the classrooms. Here's the amount of time, you know, whether we have less kids coming on one day and we spread it out during the week. You know, those are the things that, as I review LACO's recommendations and start tailoring it to Los Nietos, then I can start sharing with you what's the safest way that, you know, LACO is making the recommendations for us to reopen the school. I wanted to put this back up again because we kind of got away from, you know, where we were at, but this all started with the board when I did a presentation on March 11th, okay? And at that time, when I said, here's our response to COVID-19, here are the things we're going to do, only 27 cases in all of Los Angeles County, 1 death, none of in Whittier. So almost a week after that presentation was when recommendations came down for school dismissal, student dismissal. We extended that 3 times. And these are the statistics as of yesterday from the LA County Department of Public Health, which their link is on our website. So almost 50,000 cases of COVID-19, almost 2,200 deaths in LA County, 126 cases in Los Nietos, West Whittier area, and close to 500 or 600 in Whittier area of cases. So it has only gone up, and LA County, although the cases are reducing, you know, and they are gradually opening things up, the science is meeting with the politics and the economics that we have to open up and people have to go back to work. And people are starting to get a little fuzzy with the science and the math that, let's just go back to work, let's go back to school. And even superintendents are saying you can't do this yo-yo stuff. We're either in school or we're not, but we can't plan for different kinds of programs. So all those things have played into the Department of Public Health, the County Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles County releasing or loosening the guidelines for that we've been under in the stay-at-home order. Our original stay-at-home order from Public Health was still the 15th. It's been revised, it's loosened, but still you need to wear your mask when you go out. And again, based on LACO's recommendation that I saw yesterday, how to go into school, all staff and all students would have to wear a mask if they were to come back, would be the recommendation. We know that the governor's revise had 10% reduction in our LCFF funding. We successfully finished our first year of virtual learning, and we start with our summer school virtual learning for our special education students. Okay, so that's kind of where we are as we go through next month. But like I mentioned before, next step, prepare for our school to open in the fall with a blended program, probably virtual, probably kids coming in, but being prepared to be flexible for both in case something were to change, either positively or negatively. We have to go all 100% virtual, or we'd gradually be able to bring more kids back. We'll be reviewing recommendations. The CDC has put out recommendations as well. And through all of this, I will continue to communicate with you and with our parents. And I think the fact that I've been able to do videos and push stuff out on social media, and with your help, drive people back to our website has helped. I have not received any negative comments from parents with regards to, my gosh, why don't you open up the schools? Why aren't you doing this? I believe our community, our parents are 100% in support of maintaining safety for our kids, for our staff, and they are truly appreciative, of the things we are trying to do for their kids, having participated, I think, in 2 of the Aeolians and Nelson's parades. I know how much the kids miss being in school, and the parents miss you, and that you miss them. So, people understand the predicament and the pandemic that we are in. And as long as we can communicate with them, as long as we do our very best to continue the learning, I think we'll be in good shape. So to kind of end on some positive notes again, had we not had a pandemic, had we not had to close school, did not have to have a 10% reduction in LCFF, there are some positive things that were going on in our district. Our middle school, which outperforms South Whittier's Graves Middle School, which outperforms some of the Whittier city schools, middle schools, was recognized by a USC study again for the 2nd year in a row for closing the achievement gap with low-income Latino students in ELA. So congratulations again to our ELA staff over at the middle school. That's imperative for you to know, because as, again, parents are doing consumer shopping, they think that other school districts offer them a better opportunity for success. But our middle school has a lot of good opportunities, not only academically, but also with regards to electives. So that's important for you to know. And lastly, as I just want to offer some, appreciations, offer some recollections of this past year. I feel bad for Shannon, who was recognized by both Senator Archuleta's office and for Ian Calderon's office as a Woman of the Year for her outstanding leadership in the area, not even Los Nietos, but in the area, the region. Congratulations to Shannon for winning those 2 much well-deserved rewards for her great work at the middle school and also being a representative of Los Nietos school district. You know, to Erica Rose out there, who is our teacher of the year, normally I'm able to provide a really nice opportunity for staff celebration and bring you back and recognize positive things going on in the district. I'll have to figure out a way to get your speech in somehow, whether we do it virtually and on a Zoom at a later meeting. You definitely deserve that as our 2019-20 teacher of the year. With regards to our virtual websites, to the TOSAs, Juvenal, Jessica, and Terry, thank you so much for all of your hard work putting that together. So it was a one-stop shopping for teachers. And so in the midst of so much chaos and craziness, the one thing that wasn't chaos and craziness was the professional development and the ability to go and get resources to help their kids. So you helped a lot of lessening anxiety in the district. With regards to our virtual promotions, I want to thank Becky, who has offered to put together and has put together virtual promotions for all of the schools. So all of the promoting kids from the 6th grade to 8th grade are going to be having their promotion ceremonies next week. And Becky was the one who graciously offered to put them together for the principals to make them really nice. So the Woman of the Year came in this morning to my office and say, "Oh my God, Becky did such a great job." And so again, if the Woman of the Year can say that about Becky, definitely I can too. So thank you so much for that. We've done a great job in feeding the kids in our district, and we've not only feed the kids in our district, but we feed the kids in surrounding districts as well. So thanks to Doug and for Kathy and for all our cafeteria workers for making sure that on a daily basis, or at least 2 times a week, they get a week's worth of food. And lastly, you know, 2 more things. One, to the teachers, I just want to again thank you for sticking through this and managing your own stress and anxiety, to take a deep breath and to meditate and to be able to say, I don't know how to do this yet, but I can figure it out, because you all have. Okay, and that's going to be a tremendous step up for us, especially since we had our great blowout of our Rediscover Los Nietos, and we were able to get Whittier City Council and all these state and local leaders to our school and realize what a great learning environment our district is. So through your hard work, you've been able to really show why the local legislatures and people who attended our Rediscover Los Nietos event were so impressed. It's through your efforts that we were able to get through this, and we have a good, strong baseline for next year. And lastly, I would not be able to do as much as we have if not for Will's leadership. It's been outstanding and instrumental. So to have someone with an instructional knowledge base, as well as a former engineering degree, to kind of say, here's how we can put things together virtually and things we can do to get pushed out, to get surveys out and to get information out. Again, I just want to thank Will for his outstanding leadership during this crisis. The things that he has done has really benefited this district. Okay. So again, throughout the next month and month and a half, I will be communicating with you. I'll communicate through your principals to say, here's what our next meetings will be. But again, we'll get through it. Doug and I went through the last budget crisis where we had to do some, you know, serious things. We've done through it before. This is very similar to that, in that this too shall pass. We'll get through it, but it's going to take a little bit of time. It's not going to be an easy fix, but it is something that is going to take some time and all of us working together. So my hope and my intent is just to be honest with you as much as I can, so you get the information that you need to do to lessen the stress that you have in your lives, but also provide a good foundation for your kids next year. We'll be coming to you looking for you for some stability, okay? So again, thank you very much for all of your hard work. I wish you the very best, and I will talk with you later. So Will, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you, sir. This morning, I am going to try and do a brief recap of a few things and then get out of Dodge, if you don't mind. First and foremost, give you an update. We are still moving in an upward direction regarding our Chromebook distribution. Even last week, there was more Chromebooks distributed. We got 655 out as of last week, and we still are distributing Chromebooks this week. Just want to remind everyone, as a parent drives up now to get a Chromebook, I just want to remind everyone, we are not collecting Chromebooks from any of, or iPads from any of our kids who are staying in the district, unless they are an 8th grader. So part of our incentive for trying to make sure everyone stays here is to incentivize it with the Chromebook, with devices they can use over the summer. So when we come into August, we're not starting from scratch. Great news, not so great news, and politics. Hotspots. Did get a confirmation email yesterday from T-Mobile. I will be doing a conference call with them that we will be receiving 20 hotspots. But I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, but in this case, I want to make sure I don't get bit either, because they are only offering 3 months free and then $20 per month afterwards. So we'll be meeting with them later today or tomorrow and looking at having those hotspots ready for August and providing those to our families. So we do have 200 hotspots that will be here, but they do have strings attached to it. I want to thank everybody for their help, teachers, staff, everyone who's been making phone calls, the texts, great job, because 72% of our students have devices, and that's a great place to be, considering when we started the school year, we weren't talking about devices being at home with kids. As we start talking about next year's plan, because it has started. It started a month ago. I just didn't talk much about it. Just want to remind everyone what we talked about last week. We're looking at student accountability trackers. So thank you for doing those things. Extremely important as we look at what can we do next year. The budget, as the superintendent talked about, parent input, which will be going out today. We will start seeing those surveys out today to parents. So for all of those parents who participated in the survey for the COVID-19 Chromebooks, we will send it to their email account. And then we're also going to do a school messenger and social media. We need their feedback about what they want their instructional program to look like for their child for next year. Staff technology surveys, thank you for that. I'll talk about that in a moment. And believe it or not, we're asking students to do surveys. We want student feedback. What was their experience during this COVID-19? For those of you who are parents, you know it hasn't been the funnest time for kids at home learning. Even if they are the brightest kid or the best kid, it's a new paradigm, is different. And so we want to honor them and really understand them as we make plans for next year. So students will be getting surveys, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And then we're not sure, based on the budget, what the guidelines will be from the state. We could have a reduction in the instructional calendar next year. There could be some other modifications. Right now, the 6 feet distance between means block A, block B, or maybe block C scheduling. And so all those things are still in the air. So as we get more information from the state, we want to use that to build that program for August. So as I talked about data we need the following data. We need staff surveys, which you've already done. So thank you, staff, for doing that. Parent surveys and student surveys. 3 major elements. And real quickly, I wanted to talk briefly about the staff survey and thank everyone for their participation in the staff survey. And there's a couple of highlights I wanted to just do real quickly from the staff survey. So bear with me just one moment, because we will be sharing this out with everyone later. But there's a couple of key points I wanted to bring out based on the survey. I want to thank everyone who did participate. You can see the numbers there about who participated and what those numbers look like. And there we go. I apologize. A little off base for the last meeting. So real quickly, some data I wanted to just review. One of the questions was, have you created a Zoom? I mean, expectations for using Zoom? And great response from you all. So thank you for your candid and honest response. 20% of you said no. And so we want to just make sure we do create those expectations for students. 7% said, yes, I have, but haven't shared them. 48%, yes, I've shared them with students and begun using them in distance learning. And then 25% shared at the beginning of each session to go with those expectations. We want to remember, we just need to create a different paradigm. And in order to create a different paradigm, we're going to have to remind kids, our students, what to do. So those expectations are important. How are your online sessions with students organized? And so some lessons learned from you all. 44% have been doing whole group. 29% have been doing small group. 14 are doing heterogeneous grouping. And another 13 are doing homogeneous grouping. Have you created a Google Classroom? 7% reported no, which is like 4 people. 4% said yes, but I haven't shared it with students. 52% said they've shared it in small numbers with students accessing it, while 38% said a majority of the students are accessing Google Classroom. So thank you for that. And real quickly, the last question I just want to share out response was, what type of support have you provided parents to help them support their child? And we know this different paradigm really impacts parents because we need them to help get our kids into this new model. And so you all reported that 7% online sessions, you know, did a few things with parents in the online sessions. 3% said online sessions and most attended. 10% of you said you shared documentation to explain Google Classroom with parents. 28% of you all said you use Google Classroom, Classroom Dojo or Remind to communicate with parents about things. 18% of you said you use email to communicate. 10% said you sent a video to parents to help explain assignments. While 17% of you all said you called parents. All great things to do. We're going to need all those different elements because we have different parents on different levels that we need to engage as we move forward. The student survey, like I said, will be going out today. And just a note for you with the student survey, you can see there that there's the link, a bit.ly link, LNSD students. We're going to send it to their district Gmail account. Teachers, we're asking for your help. Between now and next Wednesday, if you can encourage your students, incentivize them to complete the survey. The survey is for 4th through 8th grade students, Gen Ed, Mild, Moderate, and Pride. Anonymous feedback. Please share it in your Google Classroom and look for the flyer in the link. Okay, so we'll be sending this out to teachers. Please, we need your help in getting this out and getting student feedback. Next, we are doing parent survey, and the parent survey is detailed, about 25 questions, and we need the information for each child. So for those parents who have multiple kids in our district, they may need a different instructional program next year based on the age of their child. Elementary, they may want their kids to be physically on campus every day because of work, but maybe they feel comfortable with their middle school child being on and off schedule, home, school, whatever it may be. So we're asking parents for each kid to fill out an individual survey so we just get feedback and have some good data to look at as we talk about building that program for August. We'll be pushing out through social media, school messenger to get parents engaged. We really would like to see around 1,300 surveys. So we need your help. What's the plan? Real quick, stakeholder meetings we'll be having to talk about next August. 4 elements, data collection and analysis. So we're going to be collecting data and looking at it to make thoughtful and real decisions. What's the instructional program? That's going to be based on curriculum, technology, support needed for financial and health guidelines. The PPEs, are they going to be the mask? Are they going to be the shields? And how do you provide for students? Do you have a big camera sitting in when people walk in to take their temperatures off their foreheads, and have that automatically let us know if anybody's coming in with fevers, or do we have a bunch of people walking around with infrared thermometers. I mean, all those things based on state guidelines and local guidelines we'll be looking at and talking about, so we can make sure staff, students, and everyone's safe. Develop alternatives and protocols. So what's the protocol if a child runs a fever during the day? You know, what's the protocol for kids who are maybe homesick and needing to do some work? So looking at those different things that may be related to this COVID-19 that's out of our normal method of operation. And last but not least, we want to share opinions and plans with the community. So the stakeholder committee is going to help with that as we get ready for August. The worst thing we could probably do is make plans and not share with everyone and get everyone's input, because one or two minds can't solve this problem. This is a family problem, and we need to address it as a family. Real quickly, just want to touch real briefly on the grading policy. As you know, middle school's already done this. This has gone home last Friday to parents. Elementary, sorry, we tried to do more for you with Power School and just was not able to. So I just want to quickly just touch on that in case there's any questions that remain. Elementary, we're not printing out report cards for everybody to go home. But the report cards are public documents. So with that being said, so we don't have to go back in time to do anything, we're asking that by tomorrow that you put in a grade of pass, blank, or incomplete for ELA and math for every student. One of the things unfortunate with Power School, we were going to set the default to pass and allow teachers just to modify those students who did not pass by removing that. The program's not designed to do that, unfortunately, due to gradebook and some other things. So we're asking that you make sure by tomorrow you have your ELA and math. So if a parent does request a report card for whatever paperwork, court orders, they can have something that's not blank for the third trimester. They would have ELA, they will have math, and then that way they can have that public record that that child was in school during this time period. And then your comments, please put your comments in the homeroom, okay? Try and keep them generic, keep them short as possible. If you feel that you want to really recognize students like the middle school for those kids who did great during this time period, put those comments under the ELA and the math that are pertinent to the subject that they excelled, okay? So your generic comments, put them in homeroom. For those who excel, put them in their corresponding ELA or math subject. When you see the screen, please do not pay attention to the percentage. The percentage is a gradebook function and everything else with Power School that we couldn't turn off, so please ignore that. The biggest concern is that you need to have pass, blank, or incomplete in the T3 cell, okay? So if you do that, the percentages do not come out on the report card. So for elementary folks, just wanted to share that and just emphasize once again, that's how that's going to work. And I want to thank the teachers who were helping me give me feedback as we put this documentation together. So thank you, teachers, for doing that. Professional learning. It's been an interesting 10 weeks, and you might not have been able to take advantage of everything because of Zooming or Life or something else. The website will be open throughout the course of the summer. Please go back and take a look at some of the videos. We're having to reinvent education during this pandemic. And so this is really a great time to think about reinventing ourselves. What are some of the tools that we all need to put in our bag that wasn't there as an educator prior to COVID-19? Because it's not going away anytime soon. So we really need those skills, such as how to integrate more technology, how to engage our kids, how to incorporate more social and emotional learning into the program. So please feel free to take advantage of this. This site will be available throughout the summer, and we'll need those skills when we get ready to return in August. As we talked about, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, great website, the Read Aloud. So thank you everyone for participating in Read Aloud Library. It's not over. You still can do a video. We still will post them. So if you have not done a read aloud video, please do and submit that to us. And we will get that video in our library. And once again, continue to encourage your students to go to the website and continue to encourage your parents to sign up for the YouTube channel. Because as we keep putting more things out, they will be involved and they'll be able to see what's going on with that. Let's see here, the watch party. Well, we did the watch party because of your feedback. And I want to thank everybody who participated in it. Direct result from what you did, some great sessions we had there. Yesterday was a very good session by Dr. Kenneth Weston talking about physical education and health. And a lot of us kind of reminisced on our grandparents and parents about things that we thought were like, no big deal, but we got the science behind why eating like a family, cooking meals and doing things are so important to our health. And we need to help our kids with that. We know they're sitting around more because of this COVID-19. And so it's going to be hard to educate if they're not physically healthy, and we got to be physically healthy. So if you haven't seen that, we'll put that up there for you, but please stay healthy, stay well. And based on feedback from the group, we'll try and continue doing the summer, doing at least one watch party a month. Okay. So be looking for that and we'll keep putting that out there once a month. So thank you everyone for your participation. For all you have done this year. In the words of Yoda Steve Rizzer, thank you, I say. And a few things, I just want to stop because I want you to stop and just look at some of the things that went on during this year. So I want to give you a moment just to kind of read over some things. So we'll put this on the website. You can go back and take a look. But when you stop and say, wow, we had a year. Yeah, there was a lot that went on this year outside of COVID-19. And it's due to your efforts. Teachers, instructional assistants, staff, everybody, thank you. Because it wouldn't have been possible without you. We know we made some great strides this year. And if Auntie Rona hadn't stayed as long, we probably would have done even more. But unfortunately, everybody has that one person in the family who comes over and wrecks the party. COVID-19 did that. But even though that happened, you guys did some amazing work. So I really want to stop and say thank you for that and recognize you. And you should recognize yourselves and applaud yourselves because it was a lot we did this year. And we did it with students in mind. That's our job. So thank you for all you do and have done. And as I close out this year, I would like just to share this quote from Lao Tzu. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And for those of you who were reluctant with technology and have finally put both feet in the water, thank you for taking a step. For those who were scared about Zoom, thank you for taking a step. And we all are getting better by taking one step. We're not asking to tackle a mountain tomorrow or run 1,000 miles tomorrow, but we do need to take one step at a time. And as long as we're doing that together, we're going to get there and make things better for this community in Los Nietos. So I want to thank everyone, and I'm going to turn over to Mr. Raymond Tan.
Okay, thank you. Well, okay, let's go to the next slide. The next slide. So I just want to thank everybody for your hard work. I know that it's been very difficult for special education teachers and all the staff. We're trying to figure out what distance learning looks like. And so it hasn't been easy, but we're doing a really amazing job. I just want to thank all of you for your hard work. And tomorrow will be our last special ed Zoom meeting. So if you are able to participate, please do that. It will be at 11 o'clock. And so don't forget to sign up in the shared Google Sheet that I have shared with you. I would definitely love to see all of you before you leave for the summer and to just check in with each other, see how we're doing, and so that we can plan for next year. Okay, and let's see. So before you leave for the summer, and please don't forget to fix all the CalPETS errors. And thank you all for trying to fix the errors as you go. And I know there are some errors you probably won't be able to fix. And you can just let me or Kathy know, and then we'll try to fix them. If we can't fix them, we will try to get WhatsApp to help us. And I know Kathy has been sending you guys emails to remind you, but please make sure that you get them all fixed, or at least try to fix them, because otherwise we may have to contact you to get more information in order for us to fix the errors for you. So I'm hoping that we won't have to call you during the summer. Okay. And the next one, okay, the ESY applications. Oh, that's the previous slide. So it's due today. So if you are still interested in teaching ESY, please email the application to me. And don't worry about getting your principal's signature first, because I know that you guys are working remotely. And once I get the applications, I will forward it to your principals for them to sign. So please get them in. We're still looking to fill a couple of positions. Okay, and the next one is, yes, online registration is available. I want to thank Mr. Gideon and Krishna Varela for making it available to our parents. So parents can scan the QR code to initiate the online registration process, because we're moving towards the technology, and I'm very excited about that. So once the parents fill out the, scan the QR code, they can fill out the basic demographic information online. And then once we have that information, we will send that to the school site. We'll also keep a log of all the parents who already filled out their registration, so that we at the district office can also follow up with the parents if they haven't completed the next steps. And as of now, still they need to submit the hard copies of all the required documents. So they still have to do the traditional paper documentations to the school site. Okay, and the TDAP, oh, that's the TDAP. Please, we're going to be sending out robocalls again. And please encourage your 6th grade students to scan and email the copy to Krishna Varela, and they can get it from their doctors. They can just, take a picture on their smartphones. And I also want to thank all the health clerks for following up and reaching out to the parents. So I'm hoping that we will be able to get as many TDAP in as possible, so that Shannon won't have to keep calling the parents over the summer. And even though we're in a distance learning, and because of school dismissal, students are not coming in, but the immunization requirements are still not being waived, we still need to have all the records before we can enroll them to start school. Okay, and the next one, census. And again, I want to thank all the teachers for pushing out the census curriculum. And there will be some t-shirts. I think Shannon will be giving out to one of her teachers for doing a really amazing job for Census 2020. And we will continue the effort next year when we come back, because the self-response has been extended to October 31st. So thank you, teachers, for incorporating the census curriculum. And I think that's it for me.
All right, thank you, Raymond. Before we officially kick it back to the superintendent to close out, we want to get everyone's feedback. We have a quick poll, and please take a moment. We have a question. We'd like your feedback. Did the State of the District College provide you the information needed during COVID-19? So if you give us that feedback, that would be really helpful. Thank you. We got about 45 people who've participated so far. Thank you. Okay, and while you are wrapping that up, we'll share that. Let's give you another 30 seconds. All right. So based on your feedback, I want to say thank you for your feedback, everyone. You felt, the majority felt that it was extremely helpful. Like anything and everything, we tried to get better every time. So your feedbacks, your comments in the chats, we do talk about afterwards, and we try to incorporate that into the next calls and in our weekly meetings with your principals. So thank you for your feedback. Thank you for being on the calls. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Jonathan.
Before closing it out, again, it's customary to acknowledge retirements in our district, and I wanted to do that before. Again, my hope is that at some point in time, we can have the ability to meet again, and we can do some things, some housekeeping things that are familiar and normal to us. But worst case scenario, if I don't want to not recognize the years of service of the people who work in our district. So at our middle school, Letty Macias is retiring as cafeteria manager. She has worked in our district for 17 years. So again, we wish her all the very best. Manny Valencia, I think every other year it's like, this is my year. And truth be told, I do have the signature on the sheet. Manny Valencia, teacher at the middle school, is retiring after 19 and a half years. And although, people remember Manny from his loud voice that carried all throughout the halls, things that I'll remember about Manny is the things he did behind the scenes to try and get kids scholarships, and trying to get them into good schools and write letters for them and their family. So those are things that most people did not see, but he was also instrumental in helping a lot of our kids go to private schools and get scholarships. So again, Manny, I wish you and your family the very best in your next stage of life. And lastly, Alejandro Velasquez, Alex, one of our maintenance workers, 30 plus years, started in 1989. Alex's daughter went through our schools, been very successful. His wife also retired as an employee of Los Angeles School District. In the many years I've seen Alex work, I've never not seen him smile, never not seen him be an outstanding representative of the Los Angeles School District. So I wish him and his family a very much well-deserved retirement. I hope he gets to spend lots of time with his family during his retirement. Okay, so those are 17, 47, and 20 is 67. About 66 and a half years of Los Angeles dedicated service to the district and to the employees. So to all three of them, I wish them the very best. So guys, it's a Thursday. We're one day away from a Friday, and what you do on your off time, I hope it's fun and I hope it's celebratory. You deserve it. And we will talk again shortly. So have a good weekend.
Mr. Vasquez, I'm sorry, this is Mrs. Ayali.
Yes.
Since for next year, do we know when we will have our assignments? I can't hear you. There's no sound.
You won't know probably until July. We'll send it
Okay.
out. We'll send folks assignments out. We're still in the process of doing assignments for schools, and even that is subject to change with regards to what school is going to look like. So as we, for all of you, as we can review the LACO recommendations, kind of a blended program, we're going to take into consideration best way probably within the next month, not during June, but probably in July.
Okay.
With other assignments.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
All right, everyone. Have a great Thursday. Happy Friday's Eve. Be safe out there, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Happy summer.
Happy summer.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Rizzer.
Bye.
Bye, Loopy.